Welcome back to the channel, friends. For today's video, we wanted to show you a trellis system that we put up for our Blackberries. This is a little different than some other folks that I've seen put up these systems where they're using wooden posts and things like that. This is a little bit different, but I can already see that it's doing the job really well. We had some strong winds out here the other day, some storms, like 60-mile-an-hour winds, and this thing held up great. So I want to go ahead and show you how I put this together and what exactly we're doing here. All right, so what we have here, first we got three Blackberry plants here. I'll go ahead and zoom in on these for you. Planted these a little while back. I got another video that goes over how we planted these in the ground and everything. But these have been taking off pretty nice. This one down here I called a runt. This is our third one, but it's starting to take off a little bit. You can kind of see this cane out here starting to shoot. And then this one over here, he's starting to kind of come up too a little bit. But that's kind of the runt, but he's starting to make it. These other two, though, have been doing really, really well. So as far as this trellis system goes, I know that this is a little different than what I've read about online and seen online. So basically, I just used T-posts here. And the reason I'm using these T-posts here is because I had these left over from this fence that I built out here, okay? So I'm trying to be cost effective, not overthink it. And these T-posts, these are 7 foot tall, and I drove these about 18 inches into the ground. So they're all approximately about 5.5 feet coming out of the ground, which is perfect given the trellis wires that, you know, I want to be able to use. So when it comes to the actual trellis wires, this first one here at the bottom is about 2 feet off the ground. And I know some people start them at 3 feet and then they might go up to 5 foot or so. But these canes were starting to kind of lay in the ground, and I did not like that. And so I went ahead and made this first wire about 2 feet off the ground, 24 inches. This next one here, this next wire here, is about 3 feet off the ground, right? And so as you can see, these two guys right here in the front, they're about headed that way to that second wire. And then eventually what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to put a third and final wire, probably about somewhere in here, maybe around the 4 foot mark, somewhere in here, because ultimately I want to keep these trimmed back or pruned back to somewhere between 4 and 5 feet, okay? So this post is plenty tall enough to handle what I want to do. So as these continue to grow, I will be adding one more wire, and then that'll be the final wire. And again, I'm going to be keeping those to around somewhere between 4 and 5 feet. I wanted to mention this is a galvanized wire here that I bought. For the life of me, I cannot tell you what the gauge on this thing is. It's pretty thick. I got these tied around here pretty tight. They're pretty taut, but there's a little bit of leeway to them on purpose, just for purposes of wind and things like that, right? And I also noticed that the way that I have these tied on here, it's kind of nice, you know. It provides for just a little bit of movement. So that's also why I didn't do these too tight. And then basically how I wrap the wire is I just used one big piece. I did not cut it until I was all done wrapping, but basically I started here on this end and then just worked it to each pole, doing maybe 3 or 4 wraps onto the next pole. You know, I didn't want to cut the wire in between. You know, I wanted to keep that big long piece going all the way around to the very, very end. So basically I just wrapped that extremely tight. At the end, you know, if I felt that it was kind of loose up near the post, I just simply took a pair of pliers and just kind of twisted those clockwise, and then ultimately that kind of made the wire a little bit tighter. So kind of a cheap, fast way to do it, but it certainly worked. And like I said, this held up the other night with like 60-mile-an-hour winds. We had some really bad storms out here, and these things did not budge a centimeter. And the canes here on the Blackberries, those also stayed nice and secure on these wires through all that heavy wind. So I was pretty pleased by that. And then I wanted to mention what I used to tie these on was just this standard vinyl type tape for trellising plants to a trellis. As you can see, I leave it, it's fairly loose, but it's tight. So, you know, I basically double knot it here on the actual wire, but then I leave it, you know, a little bit loose here where it's actually touching the plant, you know, just to kind of provide that some leeway to grow. And then I also think that helped these as well when we had that really bad wind. You know, it kind of gave these things some leeway as far as the wind went. Well, everybody, that's going to be it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of it. If you're somebody that's thinking about planting blackberries, or maybe you're not and you just wanted to get a little information today about trellis systems. So this is the way that we did it, and I hope we have some success with it. If this is your first time stopping by the channel, think about subscribing. If you liked the video today, give us a like. Feel free to leave any comments, and we will be talking to you soon.